Okay, logical thinkers out there, here we go.
I've been pretty fair talking about this Mica Miller story, and if you disagree, you can let me know down below because it's perfectly fine to disagree on this channel. But this fairness in my coverage has upset a lot of people, and I get it. But in a story where it's already difficult to be objective, John Paul isn't doing me any favors. And this latest story doesn't make it any easier. So welcome to the point. Now allegedly...
Oh, damn. Oh, thank you. Moments with Ashton and Co.
This is blatant hypocrisy, and I can't see it any other way. This story comes from the Post and Courier, so listen to this and we'll break it down. Embattled pastor John Paul Miller has publicly said he wants to disprove all the lies about his marriage to his late wife. Recently, he asked the courts to seal records of her family's case against him. Oh yeah, I didn't even make it through the first paragraph.
Wait, he wants to seal records?
So how on one side of this are you going to say that you want to get out there, speak your piece, and tell your side of the story as you see it?
And I'm looking forward to presenting over 350 pieces of proof on what Mica thinks about her family and what Mica thinks about her lawyer and the things her lawyer's saying and the things that her family's saying.
The way he says that too, Mica. Y'all see the video I posted yesterday on YouTube? You should watch it. I posted 2 of them. The first one, I said something pretty funny.
And Charlotte and all these other people that are saying things.
And on the other side, ask for all the proof to be sealed. Keep in mind, you said this.
I'll see. Let me say this. I want to answer everything, but I don't want to answer it without me holding up my proof and showing it to you because I think it's just ignorant for someone to just give, their opinion or say something and not have proof behind it when it's something as serious as this is. And so,
Jesse, thank you.
I'll be doing that next week, and I'll love to send you the proof and everything along with affidavit. But don't believe anything that I say just because I say it. That's as foolish as you believing what they say just because they say it.
Because he says he got the proof. Lisa, thank you.
You need to look for proof and truth.
Now, honestly, how is any of this a logical thought? You big brain viewers are going to have to help me out with this one.
Very true. Nurse KK, shout out to the nurses.
And if you like seeing more fair coverage and an open conversation is something you prefer, hit that like button and leave a comment down below. Because I try to be unbiased in every single video. That is the intent. But this whole story makes no sense. So listen to this. John Paul Miller, 45, is in a separation case with the representatives of Mica Miller, who passed away on April 27th. Through his attorneys, the pastor of Solid Rock at Market Commons filed a motion on June 11th to seal all court records, including pleadings, motions, orders, affidavits, exhibits, and other documents pertaining to the case. His divorce attorneys could not be reached for comment. J.P. Miller has also declined or has not responded to previous comment requests from the Post and Courier. Before filing the motion, John Paul Miller's attorney, Joy Page, asked Regina Ward, the attorney of his wife's family, to agree to seal the records according to the emails attached to the motion. Ward's paralegal wrote back that the attorney typically would consent to sealing a file, but due to the circumstances of
Sounds good. Awesome. Thanks, y'all.
this particular matter, she would not. Ward could not be reached for comment. Well, of course she's not going to agree. She is publicly pushing for Mica's law to be passed. Her client's family has already allegedly said John Paul is constantly trying to control the narrative. So what did they honestly think Regina Ward was going to say? In the new filing, J.P. Miller argued that sealing the court's records would avoid unnecessary prejudice or embarrassment for him and his late wife, protect proprietary and tax information, protect both parties from libel, and protect J.P.'s 2 children, who he argued will be indirectly affected by the case according to court records. Well, John Paul, if you would have honestly never made a video, that's probably something I could get behind. But you've said a lot of things publicly already. And once the seal's been broken, the paint will never seal again, buddy. And honestly, why bring the littles into this? That reads more like those people overseas who pop off while trying to hide behind their youngins. And no one's even really talking about them, nor should they. But an argument could already be made that they've already been indirectly affected by all this stuff. J.P. Miller also claimed the move...
Wasn't that in the affidavit that the ex-wife was filing, saying that she didn't want him around the kids at all?
...would protect his wife's public image, which he said would be at risk if the records remain public due to evidence of her illness, medical neglect, and or criminal behavior, though he did not specify what he meant. The motion also said sealing the records would be for the safety of everyone involved and would protect access to medical records involving doctor-patient confidentiality. Oh, okay, so that's what we're
What the hell? That's crazy.
worried about now? Well, if that's the case, why did you say this?
My wife was diagnosed with bipolar 2 disorder, schizophrenia, dependent personality disorder, and several other diagnoses by different doctors at different times all throughout the past 7 years. The two diagnoses that stayed with her every single year was schizophrenia and bipolar 2. Bipolar 2 is where you're super high and you want to give away $1,000. The low is, and the schizophrenia is where she would hear voices or talk to people that were not there. She'd play chess with people that were not there without a chessboard. She would sometimes forget who I was or forget that I was her husband. She'd forget who she was. Or forget that she was my wife. Sometimes she'd forget who her family is.
You just publicly blasted all her medical information in that clip, not to mention what you
Yeah, that's crazy.
said during that sermon. So what exactly are we sealing here? But if what you've been saying on those TikToks is actually true, then what's the point of sealing this stuff? Well, I have a guess to why he wants to seal everything, and we'll get to that in a minute. If the records are made public, it may cause harm to anyone involved in the case, the filing stated. Another reason J.P. Miller wants the records sealed is to avoid disclosing private information about the members of his church, which is also listed as a defendant in the case.
Oh, yep, that part.
According to the filing, Mica had worked as a church creative director. The problem with that statement is everybody who's with you is currently with you, and everybody who isn't on your side has already jumped ship by now. And you specifically went on TikTok to say this.
We're going to disprove all the lies that are out there. And there's so many lies, it seems like everybody thinks the world is flat.
So if everybody has nothing to worry about, then what are you trying to hide here? Why all of a sudden care about the church financials? John
Wait, the earth isn't flat?
How dare you?
I thought that was what it ended up being. Who knows?
Paul Miller will show that there is just and good cause for the sealing of the records in that it will ensure a fair trial, allow for witness cooperation, and reliance of the parties and or witnesses upon expectations of confidentiality, he stated in court documents. Truths aren't secrets at the end of the day, and your window to ask for a seal, in my own unprofessional opinion, closed when you started speaking publicly. And for the record, if the Francis family tries to file something like this, I'll say the same thing to them. But there are reasons for every action in most cases. So why ask for a seal in records now? I can only think of one reason, which is why actions like this make it hard for me to cover this thing fairly, when even a cucumber can see what's going on right now. This is, in my own
He said even a cucumber.
How dare you?
opinion, allegedly a move to control the narrative. I don't know this to be certain, and I certainly wouldn't swear by it, but is there any other reason that you can think of? Think about it like this, and of course this is all hypothetical and not based off any fact, but what if he had thought when Mica passed he would just get up there and make his sermon and everybody would accept exactly what he said? Then when that didn't work, he figured he could stay quiet, and him being quiet would cause a lot of this noise to blow over. But when that didn't work, John Paul decided to fight fire with fire, so he started making TikTok videos on his own. And after figuring out that only a few of us were giving him the benefit of the doubt or talking about what he said fairly, he's decided now to remove all factual information whatsoever. So he can get on TikTok and say whatever he wants to say without anybody having the ability to fact check his own words.
KDB, thank you.
Like I have said, this is all just a guess and not to be taken factual. Everybody needs to do their own research and form their own opinion. A lot like what John Paul said here.
And you ask them why, and they say, well, it says on the news the world's flat. Or, Robbie Stinky Harvey said that it's flat. Or JLR Never Investigates says that it's flat. You need to look for proof and truth. And
well, if it's all sealed, how can we? This motion falls short in my own opinion, mainly due to one thing. There's no mention of a motion for a gag order to follow it. nor is there a mention of a gag order coming up in any article that I can find. So this reads more like an attempt to try to control the information rather than an attempt to ensure everybody gets a fair trial, which is what we should all want at the end of the day. Because feelings aren't factual, so John Paul, stop trying to hide the facts here. And at least on this channel, I'll talk fairly to the best of my ability. And I assure you the subscribers here will call me out when I'm not. Because we don't and won't accuse anybody of anything without all the evidence and everybody having a chance to tell their side. And that's how it should be everywhere. Y'all be safe now.